Okay, this is for both lecture and lab. So the heart's located in the mediastinum. Okay, know what surrounds the heart. Okay, the pericardium surrounds the heart, right? That fluid-filled sac. Okay, know the layers of the heart. Okay, so the outside portion of the heart, okay, is the epicardium. Epi means above. It's connective tissue, right? We dissected last time, right? 2 weeks ago. Okay, then the muscle part's the myocardium. It tells you. Okay, it's going to be cardiac muscle. And what lines the chambers is the endocardium. Endocardium. It's epithelial tissue, right? Which is lined called endothelial tissue. Okay. Okay. If you know the blood flow through the heart chambers, you not only do very well on the lab test, but also the lecture test. Okay, know what type of blood is in the major blood vessels. Okay, is it oxygenated or deoxygenated? Okay, so for example, deoxygenated blood is blood that is filled with carbon dioxide, right? CO2. So the superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, and coronary sinus, that's a big vein in the heart, okay, that all has deoxygenated blood, CO2 blood. Okay, the right atrium, right ventricle has CO2 blood in it. Okay, so from the right ventricle, right, gets pumped right into the pulmonary trunk. Okay, pulmonary trunk splits into right and left pulmonary arteries. Deoxygenated blood. Right and left pulmonary arteries are taking deoxygenated blood from the heart, and taking it to the lungs to get reoxygenated. Okay, right and left pulmonary veins. Right and left pulmonary veins, right, bring oxygenated blood to the left atrium. Then from the left atrium, it goes into the left ventricle, and oxygenated blood gets pumped to the aorta, and it goes out to the whole body. Okay, so then from there it goes arteries, arterioles, capillaries, venules, veins. Okay, right. So the two upper chambers are called the atria. Okay, the valves that separate the atria and the ventricles are the atrioventricular valves. Okay, so the atrioventricular valves, know that for both. Okay. Okay, on the right it's the tricuspid valve. On the left is the bicuspid or mitral valve. Okay, so the atrioventricular valves are tricuspid and bicuspid or mitral. Okay? Okay, the two semilunar valves, okay, are the pulmonary semilunar valve and the aortic semilunar valve. Okay, so pulmonary, right, goes into the pulmonary trunk. Aortic, right, the blood goes into the aorta. Okay. So what separates the two atria is the interatrial septum. Interatrial septum. Okay? What separates the two ventricles, okay, is the interventricular septum. Interventricular septum, it tells you. Okay, what separates the atria from the ventricles? What separates the atria from the ventricles is the coronary sulcus. Coronary sulcus. Okay? Okay, so for both tests, know the conduction system of the heart. Okay, so the conduction system, right? The sinoatrial node, right? The SA node is considered the pacemaker of the heart. It's located in the right atrium. So in order goes SA node, sinoatrial node, then it goes the atrioventricular node or AV node. Then it goes into the bundle of His. It branches into right and left bundle branches, and they wrap right around the ventricles. And off the bundle branches are Purkinje fibers. So sinoatrial node is the pacemaker of the heart. Okay, and the Purkinje fibers branch off the bundle branches. Okay, so we haven't done this yet. Okay, you'll get it tomorrow. Okay, so the layers that make up arteries and veins, they're called tunicas. Okay, arteries and veins have the same layers. Okay, the arteries are just thicker because they have to withstand the pumping power of the blood. They stretch. Okay, so blood gets pumped through arteries, it flows through veins, and it oozes through capillaries. Okay, So if you were to cut an artery, every time your heart beat, it would squirt, okay? They call it arterial spray, okay? If you cut a vein, it's just a steady flow. Like if you took a water fountain, put your finger on a button, right, the water just comes out, nice even flow. That's how it comes out on veins, and it oozes through capillaries, okay? So the innermost portion, okay? So the hole, if I'm looking through arteries and veins and capillaries, they're like big tubes, right? They're long tubes. That hole is called the lumen, okay? The hole is called the lumen, okay? And when the lumen gets bigger, we call it vasodilation. When it gets smaller, we call it vasoconstriction. Okay, I'll go over that tomorrow with you. Okay, and I'll remind you that these are going to be on the test. Okay, so, right. So now, the innermost lining of an artery and a vein, okay, is called the tunica interna or intima. Tunica interna or intima. It's two names. Okay, that's the lining. It's made up of simple squamous epithelial tissue. Okay, and that makes contact with the blood. Okay, then the next layer, the middle layer, is the tunica media. Tunica media. It's smooth muscle. It's smooth muscle. It contracts. Okay, and the outermost part is called the tunica externa or adventia. Tunica externa or adventia. That's connective tissue. Okay, that's connective tissue. Okay. Okay. Let's see. So what flows through the lumen of a blood vessel? Blood. Okay, very easy. Very, very easy. Okay. Okay, average heart rate, right, or target is 75 beats per minute, so between 70 and 80 is considered normal. Okay, a resting heart rate over 100 beats per minute. A resting heart rate over 100 beats per minute is called tachycardia. It's called tachycardia. Okay? So think of a tachometer in a race car. A race car is fast. Tachycardia means it's a fast car. Okay, I'm going to go over this again tomorrow. Okay, if it's a resting heart rate below 50 beats per minute, okay, if it's slow, below 50 beats per minute, it's called bradycardia. It's called bradycardia. Okay? Let's see. Okay. So, large arteries coming right off the heart. Large arteries are called elastic. Okay, are called elastic or conductive arteries. Okay, elastic or conductive arteries. So examples: your aorta, right, going right off the heart. So it's got to stretch. That's why they call them elastic. They're thick. Okay. Aorta, brachiocephalix. Okay, subclavians. Okay, iliacs, femorals. Okay, then they're going to flow into medium-sized arteries that are called muscular or distributing. Okay, they're going to dilate or constrict depending on where we need the blood. If we're running upstairs, you need the blood to your legs. Okay, so they're going to branch off. Okay, so subclavians branch off to brachial, radial, ulna. Okay, and then femoral. It's going to go into tibia and fibula. Okay. Okay, when we're taking a blood pressure, we're going to do that today. You're going to use your brachial artery. You could use your calf. You could use an infant. You could use the thigh if you need to. Okay. But in adolescents and adults, we're going to use a brachial artery, and we're going to use a sphygmomanometer, which I'll show you tomorrow, a blood pressure cuff, and the stethoscope. Okay. All right. When you're taking a blood pressure, okay, the sounds that you are hearing are called Korsakoff sounds, named after Dr. Korsakoff. Okay? So the first sound you hear is the systolic blood pressure. Go right down over here. So the first time you hear, so the average in males, we shoot for 120 over 80. The top number is called systolic blood pressure. And this is when a heart's contracting. Okay. The bottom number, the down number, is the diastolic. Okay, this is when a heart's relaxing. Okay, it's going to relax. Okay, so this is blood pressure. That's blood pressure. Okay, pulse pressure. This is when you take the top number and you subtract the bottom number from that. And that's about 40 millimeters of mercury, okay? The reason why you do it mercury, it used to be mercury was in the device. Okay, now it's just air or dye, okay? So, in order to do, the correct way to do a blood pressure, okay, you do a bilateral. That means on both arms. Hey, it's snowing. On both arms, okay? On both arms, okay? And standing, sitting, and lying down. And they all should be the same, okay? When you go into for a visit, the doctor's they're just gonna do your left arm, which is gonna do one arm, unless you have, if you have some sort of cardiovascular disease, then they would do all of it. Okay, so when you're doing vital signs, we're gonna do this today, you're gonna take a pulse, okay, I'm gonna show you how to do it in a second, and you do it on both arms. You do a blood pressure on both arms, and then you calculate the pulse pressure for both. If there is a tenfold difference from one side to the other, you might have a blockage somewhere. That's why you should do both sides, okay, so there's a problem going on, okay? And then we do respiratory rate too. Then you would do respiratory rate, so I'll show you that in a second, okay? Right? Just know, right, we do the blood pressure, top number is systolic, bottom number is diastolic, okay? All right, let's see. Okay, we're gonna go over some muscles too on the lab test, not the lecture test, the lab test. Okay, so again, know the muscles that make up the rotator cuff, okay? All right, and know the action. So, rotator cuff, think of sits, supraspinatus muscle, initiates abduction of the humerus, correct? Okay, infraspinatus muscle, okay, is going to externally or laterally rotate, okay, the humerus. Okay, teres minor, externally rotates the humerus. Okay, subscapularis internally or medially rotates the humerus. Okay, what extends the arm and the forearm? What muscle is this big muscle? Triceps brachii muscle. Triceps brachii extends the arm and forearm. The aconius muscle just extends the forearm, okay? Biceps brachii muscle flexes and supinates, flexes and supinates. Brachialis just flexes, okay? Okay? Right. If we're going into the wrist and hand, right? So, flexor carpi radialis, flexor carpi ulnaris, flexes. Extensor carpi radialis, longus and brevis, extends the wrist, extensor carpi ulnaris, extends the wrist, okay? Flexor digitorum, right? They flex the fingers. So flexor digitorum, superficialis, superficial finger flexors. It tells you, flexor digitorum profundus, these are deep. If somebody's profound, they have a deep personality, okay? So know that. Anything with the thumb, thumb's pollicis, flexor pollicis, extensor pollicis, adductor pollicis, abductor pollicis, opponent's pollicis. Okay, you see pollicis, tells you what it does. It means the thumb. Okay? Extensor indices, it's your index finger. You're extending your index finger. Extensor digiti minimi, it's your little finger. Okay, so they tell you what they do. All right. The muscles that make you inhale, right? So your external intercostal muscle, thinks, right? Inhalation, IN equals EX, right? If I'm gonna inhale, external intercostal muscles pull my ribs up. If I wanna exhale, right? EX equals IN, my internal intercostal muscles pull the ribs down, so the air is forced out. Okay, main muscle of breathing is the diaphragm, Okay, what flexes the trunk, right? My rectus abdominis muscles, right? Flexes the trunk, quadratus laborum extends the trunk. Quadratus laborum extends the trunk. Okay, so, the muscles of the hip, right? Easy, right? So what flexes the hip, right? Flexes the thigh at the hip joint, right? So is major, minor, and iliacus, right? Iliacus, so is major and minor. Okay, extension, right? Extension, gluteus maximus. Okay, abduction, right? It's all on the last test. Abduction, tensor fasciolata, gluteus medius and minimus muscles. Adduction, right? Adductus longus, magnus, brevis, pequeñus, and gracilis. They're all in my white book. They are all grouped. Okay, what extends the leg at the knee? Quadricep muscles, right? Rectus femoris, vastus lateralis, vastus intermedius, vastus medialis. Okay, all in my book, okay, and in the notes. Okay, opposite that, flexion of the leg at the knee joint, those are your hamstring muscles. Biceps femoris, semimembranosus, and semitendinosus, okay? And I think that's it. That is it, okay? All right, so if you taped it, someone didn't get the tape, people were taping, maybe give it to your colleagues, okay? Give the tape to the colleagues, and let me grab it.